Now, self-employment or having a boss, which is better than the other? If you have been on this channel for quite some time, you've heard me advocating for self-employment because it gives you freedom. I have talked a lot about self-employment and being accountable and making your own money. And the problem is that when some of us talk about self-employment, we have people who romanticize that idea and they start looking at employment as a very bad thing. But we don't actually talk about the drawbacks of self-employment, like in my context, not the general disadvantages. Before I talk about anything, let us all accept that a lot of us are poor and trying to beat poverty. The really, really wealthy people, the people who have made it, people who are now comfortable, they are very few. In this country, we have like only 8,000 people who have made real wealth, and they can just be counted. People like Raila, who died, Raila's family, the Moi's family, Kenyatta's family, Chandaria, you know, the big families, the Biwots and of this world, the Nyachaes, they can just be counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have about 8 to 10,000. The rest of you, more than 50 million people, are poor. You are just trying to beat poverty. So the method of beating poverty is what we are talking about here. Employment or self-employment. I did not go into self-employment because I lacked a job. No. I am a qualified Kenyan. I have a degree. I am competent. I am strong. I'm healthy. I can go and work. But I don't want a job. Why? Because I prefer self-employment. For those of us who prefer self-employment, we should not be making the idea of self-employment sound very good. Becoming your own boss is very difficult. I am my own boss. I do my own things. I'm even wearing my own brand, Le Grand Media. This is my studio, by the way. I do video production. I do weddings. I do funerals. I do events. So I have cameras and I have a team. I have good computers. We can render that thing very fast and then give quality pictures. So if you are within Western Kenya, look for us. One of the disadvantages I have noticed in self-employment is about income. We don't have really fixed income. You know, as opposed to you who is employed and you can go to work expecting that you can get 50,000 shillings every month, you can plan yourself and know that when I get 50,000, I can plan myself like this and like this. So your life has a smooth curve. You really experience minimum disruptions because you have stable income. But for me, it is quite challenging. Some months you can make 2, 3, 4, 500,000. Some months you can make zero. Not that you make zero, the net income. When you compare the expenses and the income, you find that you have even zero. And some month it can jump to 600,000. Now that fluctuation is not very good. It is good because you generally, overall, you make more money than your average employed person. Of course, average, because we have people who are employed and in these big parastatals and they really, really make good money. But I'm talking about the general employment. You compare your life. Like, for example, for me, I am a nurse. Now I'm comparing if I go to hospital as a nurse or I become self-employed, what will earn me more money? Now, doing self-employment earns me much better than becoming a nurse. But a nurse has a better chance of planning her life or his life because their income is predictable. If they will be earning, like, let's say 70,000, that is a stable income. They can plan themselves in that 70,000. But for me, I can make like maybe, let's say 200,000 this month. Then next month, I am at 40. Then the other month, I am at 400,000. Then the following month, I am at 60. You see? So there is no day you will say that my income is like this and that. And that is actually the reason why some of us, a lot of business people, are getting auctioned. That is why I was auctioned, because you can't really predict your income. Sometimes you may think that you can have money at a certain point and you find that that time has come and you have no money. So you find that you are auctioned because you could not predict your income. So you see, so we don't have fixed pay. So those ones who are in employment and they are really joyriding with predictable income, when you come to self-employment, don't expect to have stable income. It is going to be rough, especially those months where you make zero net income. It's not going to be easy. I have been here, I have experienced it, and when challenges hit, I was auctioned. So it was not easy. Apart from the unpredictable income, one thing I have also noticed are the benefits. You find these people who are employed telling you that we have benefits where we work. You know, today I'm on leave, especially that thing of leave. The leave is very good. You have a leave, You have healthcare insurance, you have sick. Sometimes when you are sick, you just tell your employer, I am sick. Then they leave you to go home because you are sick. You don't work, and you can say that you are sick for maybe 5, 6, 7 days, and then they will say when you get better, you will come, and that one will not affect your income. I was temporarily employed at some point, and I didn't go to work, and I still earned a salary because I was sick. So you find that employment has a lot of benefits. But what about self-employment? There is no sick leave. When you do self-employment, you have to always be working. You have to always be on toes. Sometimes when I am sick, and this is something that I have been telling people, sometimes when we talk about self-employment, don't make the idea sound too good, much better than employment. When I am sick, because I get sick, I'm a human being, you find that you have to be working. You have to be working, or if not working, you have to be checking on your clients, even when you are sick in bed. So that thing is sometimes not very good. Have you ever been sick and you have to beat deadlines? Let me ask people who are in self-employment. Have you ever been sick and you are trying to meet deadlines? Is it a good idea? Is it a romantic idea? Bro, you are sick. Or sometimes, let me talk about the events. Sometimes there are events like your family members have a wedding, your family members have, I think, a funeral, which is a sad thing. Sometimes they are maybe welcoming a house, they are doing housewarming, and then they welcome you. They tell you that, come, let us enjoy, we have visitors, and then you can't go. Because your job will be interfered with. You have to be making money. You have to be meeting client expectations. You have to physically be there. And if you employ people, some people will say that, why can't you employ people? Why can't you employ people? Try to have your own business, employ people, and walk out. And see what they will do to that business. I think that is why Morara Kebaso was talking about having systems that work for your business. You can have systems that work, but you must also be present to monitor, to see what is happening. It is not really a romantic idea to have no time off. You are sick and you are at work. I have been there myself, my friends. It is not easy. So when you plan to come for self-employment, when you plan to transition from employment to self-employment, just know that when you will be sick, you will be alone. And if the work you are doing, for example, requires your presence, 100% of your presence, you are done. For example, let me talk about Ayamaro, because I usually talk about him a lot when I talk about YouTubers. Ayamaro, when he's sick, he has to be recording videos even when he's sick. We usually see him when he has a cold or when he has malaria. He has to be recording videos when he has malaria because nobody else can do it for him. There's no time you can reach and say that you want to hand over your YouTube channel to another person. You must be there physically. Even when you are sick, you are ill, you have to be recording yourself. And that is not really very romantic. So you see. And the third issue I have always experienced is about the long working hours. When we talk about self-employment, we tell people that you will have freedom, you will now have your own time, you don't have to go to work. You don't have to go to work, but you will still be working. Sometimes I work. Do you know that sometimes I even forget holidays? A lot of you don't know by the I don't celebrate my birthdays. Sometimes a birthday comes and you have a lot of projects. So you have to be working during your birthday. Bro, there is a time you can desire to sleep at 10, but you can't. You have to sleep at 12 because you are waiting for a client to respond so that you can reply and sleep. And so you find that you are dozing like this. Just sitting down there dozing. Now you are self-employed. Now there's someone somewhere in employment who finished their work at 4. They have gone home, they have eaten their supper, they have slept at around 8. They are now in bed, they are enjoying their sleep. But you are there at 11 p.m. dozing, waiting for a client to respond so that you can reply and iron out things and you go to sleep. It is sometimes very difficult to handle some of these things. And when someone says that they want to be self-employed, that is when we tell them, it is not easy. It's not a very easy thing, by the way. It looks good. It looks good because we don't wear those suits and ties every morning to go to work. But you really, really have to work for very long hours. And working those long hours can interfere with your social life. That is why it's very difficult for me to get a girlfriend. And that is why I was talking to some people. It is very hard for a person like me to just randomly get a girlfriend. Because I have to be working all the time on my task to beat this poverty that you are also trying to beat. We are not among the 8,000 people. So it's not a very romantic idea. And finally, you have to take full responsibility of your business. And that one, I mean, it is one of the most difficult things and one of the most challenging things that I have ever witnessed. And I will talk about the legal issue, about responsibility. I know I can talk about so many other things about regarding responsibility, but allow me to talk about the legal aspects of the issues regarding your business. You know, a business has different things. For example, I know every company has a legal department. Every company has an accounts department. Every company has an, I think, advertising and communications department. So you find that we have these small departments in companies because they help the company. And those small departments have experts. You find that a legal department has legal experts. You find that communications department have people who studied communication. You find that in marketing department, we have people who studied marketing. So you find that we have a team of experts working on things to achieve a common goal. And so it is easier to achieve a common goal, right? But in self-employment, all the responsibility, bro, falls on your shoulders. If something faces you and you are not competent in anything, you can suffer. And I chose the legal issue because I had a business worth millions of shillings, but I did not understand the legal implications of handling such a business. I did not understand. That is why when sometimes you start facing a legal problem and you don't understand law, it forced me to start reading law. That is why I always talk about law, and I quote the Constitution on this channel, because it forces you now to go and start reading about what is the law saying about my business. You see? And you go to start reading about accounting. How do I balance my accounts? What is budgeting? You start understanding budgeting. So you find that you are a jack of all trades. You have to understand some bit of budgeting, some bit of accounting, some bit of law, some bit of marketing, so you have to understand small things about everything, because the responsibility falls on your shoulders. So when we tell people that self-employment is good, we also need to tell them that you can face a lot of issues, especially when you are responsible and you don't understand some things about multiple issues that affect your business. The last issue I just want to talk about is the relationship, which is a very significant issue. Self-employment can actually interfere with your relationships and marriages. It can interfere with your ability to socialize well with your own family members sometimes. And this is something that is very unfortunate, because we have people who have left their marriages because their husbands were busy. We have people who have left their marriages because their wives were highly committed on their businesses. But employment is not like self-employment. Employment, you can create time. You can ask your employer, let me go see my family, and they will grant you leave. But what about self-employment? When you concentrate too much, you find that your partner is not comfortable, and sometimes they can walk away. So when we talk about self-employment, it is not all that rosy. It's not all that beautiful that you have to join self-employment and just make money. But when I talk about the disadvantages, it doesn't mean that now self-employment is terrible, it's difficult, let's not become self-employed. Of course, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages from my experience. You know, there are people who tried self-employment and they went back to employment because self-employment was not serving them well. But from my experience, self-employment outweighs the benefits of employment, because one of the advantages that I have found out from working on my own things is the ability to choose what to work on, the ability to choose what to do. Like right now, I do what I love, not because I am forced to do it. The things I do, I love doing them. Nobody is forcing me to do anything. Like, for example, when I come to this YouTube channel and then I record videos, I like doing it. It is something I have chosen. Had I not wanted to do this, do you think I would be here? I don't have anybody telling me that take a camera and do that. No. Like, for example, the writing gigs that I do. Do you think that somebody is forcing me to do it? No. I just wake up and then I decide, let me do it. Now, about trading, I tried it and then I found it to be a very convenient way to make some little money over time. Stop listening to those forex traders who tell you that they are making 40 million per day. They are lying to you. it's very difficult to make money in forex trading. And I said that if I can make some little money, then compound, it can be good for me in the long run. And it's just like employment. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Now, is somebody forcing me to do that? No, I just do it myself. So you find that a lot of things that I do, even though I have full responsibility, you find that I am really actually very happy with what I do, because I have chosen what I do. I have chosen the clients to interact with. I have 100% liking of what I do. So that is one of the advantages, and that is why I usually recommend self-employment, because you actually get satisfaction from what you do. Because when you wake up in the morning and you do what you like, you are not going to a job you don't like. Like, for example, in Kenya, I cannot be happy being a nurse. Bro, I can tell you for sure that I can't be happy being a nurse. Right now, nurses are on strike. I'm a qualified, competent nurse, but nurses are on strike. Why? Because there's no money. Money that I'm now making when I'm alone. I'm my own boss. So you see, so I will really be frustrated as a nurse, but I'm very happy doing what I do. And another advantage that I noticed is setting my own working hours. Even though I work long hours, it is me who wants, and I set the schedule of how to work. So nobody really comes and then compels me to work at a certain point. You see, some of you have never worked in the medical profession. When there is an emergency, for example, you cannot have a schedule of how to work. Like doctors. And sometimes I pity doctors. That is why I say that doctors have to be earning a lot of money. I pity doctors because doctors, you can be asleep at 12 a.m. with your wife in the evening, in a blanket. You are enjoying your own thing. You are doing it with your wife. And then you find that you are being called that there is a sick person who has come to hospital. You have to come and do a checkup. So you have to leave your wife very fast and then run to hospital, then to take vital signs and then try to resuscitate that patient. You know, sometimes I look at some professions and then I wonder, you can't set your own working hours. It's very difficult. Like, for example, when you are a nurse, when COVID-19 came, there were nurses who were on strike. Then they were all called, come back to hospital. You don't have control over how you work. And we have duties. When we talk about duties, in nursing, we have what we call E and M. E is morning hours, working morning hours, and M is working afternoon hours, and then we have night shift. So those shifts are determined by your unit manager, or what we can call a nurse leader of the unit, or whatever name you want to assign them. So they are the ones who determine how you will work. It's not you planning your own time. So in self-employment, you will actually plan when to work, how to work, and how to complete your projects. So the responsibility falls on your shoulders. So if you don't like really planning your own things, it's just about planning. You may not manage it. And the second last advantage I have noticed is about keeping the income when it comes. You see, I talked about the ability to have predictable income when you are employed. But when you are self-employed, when you get money, that good money that you get, you keep all of it. It's not a fixed salary. Now, when I have a person and I have employed them for 20,000 shillings and they make 600,000 for me, I give them the 20. Then I keep 580. If I have an employee and I have employed them for 30,000 and then they make $1 million for a company, I can keep 970,000, then give them their 30,000. So you see the problem of being employed. You are helping your employer to make money. So if you make money and you make good money and you are in employment, your employer is going to keep all the money and just give you that fixed salary. So the advantage that I have noted in self-employment is that when I get money, I keep the whole of it. Because I know that when a time will come when I will lose most of that income, some months will not be good, because we have good months and then we have bad months. So when the good months come, you keep all the money. When the bad months come, you accept the outcome. But overall, you find that compared to what you would have done in employment, you find that self-employment is better. Of course, when you are a nurse and you are in self-employment, you don't compare yourself to a PS. It's very difficult or very irrational to find me comparing myself to PS Omolo or comparing myself to any other cabinet secretary because I'm in self-employment. No. Look at the practicality of your job and self-employment. If you can make more money by yourself instead of focusing on your employment, just make it on yourself, then compare. Would I be making more when I'm in self-employment So if you compare and you find that the math is positive, you just focus on self-employment. So in self-employment, you get to keep all the money, right? And now finally, what I like so much about self-employment is the ability to learn new skills, the ability to develop new competencies. For example, when I became a writer, I was not confident in speaking and talking. When I became a writer, I didn't realize that writing sharpened my vocabulary. Writing sharpened my grammar. Writing improved my confidence. And then you find that you naturally start talking well, because when you have to speak to these white people, you have to speak in English. And your English must be good for them to listen to you. So you can't just speak your shagalabagala English and then they listen to you. No. So those speaking skills and the confidence that I developed is the reason why I can now speak confidently on camera. And you find that when I'm on camera, I am learning editing. During editing, you are also learning how a computer should operate. You understand how a computer should have big RAM and then the processor, and then you understand all that. You start understanding different editing tools. So you see, you also keep learning about the available good internet options. You learn so many things. So being self-employed will force you to learn so many things that are working. And that is why it is easier for a person who is self-employed to leverage their income, to use the skills they have to create more sources of income. If you are employed, it is very difficult because you have one salary and you are doing one job. You are focusing on your job alone. But if you are self-employed, you start learning so many things. You heard me talk about being a jack of all trades. You have to understand some bit of law, some bit of accounts, some bit of marketing, so you find that you have to learn all these things. Like, for example, in this YouTube channel, I have already marketed Legrand Media, a company that focuses on advertising, funeral events, all that. And then we'll do good videos and take good photos for you. You see, I've already marketed my company. So you find that you are marketing, when they send you money, you are accounting for it well. Then you are also speaking, so you learn. When they call me for public speaking, I know I can now go somewhere and speak. So you find that in self-employment, you are learning small skills about so many things. And you find that with the time, you can earn from multiple things. So you see, so overall, is self-employment better than employment? No. Self-employment and employment is all employment. We are all just focusing on beating poverty and staying out of trouble when it comes to finances. But when you look at the whole thing, we are just poor people trying to make things work, because really rich people are not more than 10,000 in this country. And that is the capitalistic society that we are in. A few people have to be very rich, and a lot of you have to be struggling. So when you are looking at me right now, and you are in employment or self-employment, don't start going somewhere and telling people that, we make a lot of money, we are doing well. Those things you are just trying. These people who are posting their GLEs and all that, you have just bought those things. You are just poor. Just a single disaster can make you lose all those few things. People who are really wealthy and have stashed money in offshore accounts, people who have billions, have looted trillions in this country, those are the rich, the ultra rich. For you, just pray that things work. Even with those small things that you have, just pray that things work for you. So that is the end of my video today. Those are my thoughts this morning. I felt like sharing that with you. If you plan to be employed or remain self-employed, or maybe choose whatever path you want to take, it depends upon you and the advantages that you will get. Thank you for listening to me. This is Gidia Kali, and we shall meet again in another video. Peace.